What is up, members of my collector corps? It is I, Super Mario Zilla, or you could call me Vinny, and today we will be taking a look at the Figma Doom Eternal Doom Slayer. A Nendoroid version of the Doom Slayer was already under Good Smile's belt, but let's face it, that wasn't going to be enough for fans. So here comes a new Figma version based on his appearance in Doom Eternal. At the initial reveal, collectors were worried that Articulation was going to be a limited and stiff mess like the McFarlane figure. Thankfully, that is not the case. So it seems like a dream come true for Doom fans, right? Sure does. But is it perfect? I don't know why else you clicked on this video. Let's not waste any time and see if this is worth a spot on your Doom shelf. So one issue I do have already is probably the joint and sculpt separation on the shoulders. The shoulder pads don't do much to hide it. My other issue is the visor. I do wish it was transparent instead of being painted on. But I guess we can't all be winners. Other than those two problems, this is an amazing looking piece. The sculpted details I was worried about looking soft, but that's not the case here. It looks really good from head to toe, and the paintwork is excellent. To the tiniest detail like the symbol on the Slayer's helmet, panel line details throughout the whole armor, with black shading used to highlight that the armor will get down and dirty when the Doom Slayer is, well, slaying. Paint is pretty clean. I can't find anywhere where it's sloppy. Another favorite part I have is the gold, bronzish parts of the armor, which I believe does have a bit of a wash to bring out the details. Always love that in figures like these. Overall, I think the Doom Slayer is a great looking piece. It's not perfect, does have a couple of issues, but overall solid.
Doom Slayer's articulation is pretty solid. Is it perfect? No, but he's still posable, and that's most important. So, let's get over it. Head is on a double ball peg, I think it is. Actually, no, I was wrong. It's a ball hinge. Either way, he can look this high up, and he can look this far down, and he can obviously look side to side, although keep in mind there's some sculpt in the way, so be careful with that. And he can also lean. There is some gappage if you have him look up, so keep that in mind. There's a ball joint right here, and there's a swivel right here, and there's a ball joint at the gun. Arms is a swivel hinge, but there's also a butterfly joint. Moving the shoulder pads out of the way is on a double ball peg. One part is on a hinge, and the other part is on a ball joint. Oh, actually, both of them are on ball joints. So the shoulders, he can hinge more than 90 degrees, which is impressive. And they can also rotate. And there is technically a bit of a bicep swivel in the joint itself. Elbows are on a hinge. Can move more than 90 degrees. Hands are on a swivel hinge. Oh, and elbow pads are also on a ball joint. In other words, he has a lot of freedom where he can move because the pads would normally get in the way, so it's nice that they can get out of the way for posability. There might be a ball joint in here. I think it's a ball joint. So yes, he has a ball joint in the torso area, so he can crunch forward about this far. And he can crunch backward about this far. Keep in mind, depending how far you crunch him back or forward, there is some gapping. Legs. He can kick forward just about that far. And he can kick backward just about this far. So both is pretty good. Can he do the splits? Maybe with enough finagling. He can almost do them. Thighs can also swivel in this area just a little bit. Knees are on a single hinge, and he can move more than 90 degrees on the knees, and the knee pads are also on ball joints. These ankle pads are also on ball joints. And his ankles are on, I think, swivel hinges, so he can hinge this far forward, he can hinge this far back, And of course, we do have Ankle Rocker. So Doomslayer, due to his bulk, is not as posable as I think most people would like him to be. But honestly, whatever they worked in, this is a pretty good amount. Like, I'll take this over the McFarlane Articulation any day. So yeah, I am pleased with what we got. You could still get him in more than enough dynamic poses that the figure allows. It's certainly possible. So, well done.
Accessories, and boy, we get a treat with these. Lots of good stuff for the Slayer to use, which was featured in Doom Eternal, and yes, we will go over all of these. First is the Figma stand that he comes with, which is a bigger base than most Figmas, and comes with the arm and clip extender. There is a peg hole on Doomslayer's back, but it is tricky to stick it in, so be sure you have a hairdryer handy if you're having a hard time putting the peg in the peg hole. First, for his hands, he comes with 2 fist hands that were already on him in the package, 2 calm relaxed hands, 1 right hand doing a thumbs up, 2 gripping hands, which I think are meant for the chainsaw, 2 gripping hands with cylinder cuts for the crucible blade, 2 trigger finger hands, which I'm sure are meant for the super shotgun, and 2 right trigger finger hands for the BFG. Next is this piece for the equipment launcher, which is used to extend the launcher more forward. The arm is interchanged via a swivel peg, and the gun pops off via a ball joint. Both are small pieces, so please be careful when popping everything in and out, as it does take some effort interchanging the parts. We have an extended version of the Doom Blade. The one that's on his left arm is the retracted version. Both pieces pop in and out via a peg, so if you need Slayer to use the Doom Blade, well, here you go. Next up is the Crucible Blade. I love this thing. The transparent red looks great, and the lettering on the blade is just eye candy for me. And the symbol on the base of the blade is clean. This is what the cylinder cut gripping hands are used for, by the way. Next is the chainsaw, and my favorite detail is the worn out Dope Saw logo. I love it. And the colors make this thing pop when in the Slayer's hands. It's possible to get him to hold it with 2 hands, but I think it's meant for just 1 hand anyway. Next is the Super Shotgun, classic weapon. Loving the paint and detail added. I will add, I wish there was a piece for the gold hook to shoot forward, to swing on stuff or grapple to places, but oh well. The gun still looks neat. Finally is the BFG 9000, also known as the Big Fucking Gun. I can't censor that. I feel wrong for doing that. That's what BFG stands for, and I will respect it as such. Anyway, Slayer needs both hands to hold this behemoth, so he can blast whatever comes his way. The detail and colors are well done, it looks nice. Although the quality of the gray paint does look a little messy, so it's not perfect. Doomslayer comes with all the stuff he needs and then some, so definitely a solid package, and tons of display options. Here's a size comparison with other figures you may or may not own. Doomslayer is taller than most other Figmas, taller than most standard figures, which is good, he's supposed to be huge. Getting him into a display won't be an issue at all, especially if you got figures that could pass as demons in the games. Alright, there's one thing I neglected to mention, which is the biggest problem. The figure's MSRP is $120. For a Figma? And Samus is costing just as much? What happened? Yeah, if you can't stomach that price, wait for a sale. That is ridiculous no matter how it's sliced. That's a shame too, because this figure is good. I mean it, it's great, I love him. Any Doom fan will love him. He is great, but he's not perfect. The issues I mentioned before are not deal breakers, just stuff to keep in mind when purchasing the figure. That being said, I'll give the Doomslayer an 8 out of 10. I recommend him for any Doom fan, just be aware of that price.